Okay, testing. 1, 2, 3, testing, testing. 1, 2, 3, test, test. Jehovah, thank you for this opportunity to do another video and do the opposite, do the absolute level best that I can to share the light that is in me that I truly believe it comes from you, Jehovah. This is a very troubling time that we're in right now. And I thank you for the opportunity that the faiths have right now to take advantage of the knowledge that you've given us to know what is going on in this world that we live in, our reality, how we can redeem the time. Jehovah, people, your people are going to be needing help with the coming days. I just ask that I can do my part and that we can come together somehow, that through us the light can shine on the whole world. It's obvious that we're going through a change. You've chosen faiths to be light bearers in the world, to carry the only solution for the only hope for mankind, the light, the knowledge that you've given us. I thank you for that. I ask for a blessing of anointing this video, that you would give me wisdom, that I would speak with clarity, and that I would encourage the brothers and sisters that will listen to this video. Jehovah, I just thank you in your name, so let it be. All right, brethren, thank you for joining me. My name is Yaquab Ben Yisrael. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to really speed it up today because I got a lot. It just seemed like I got hit with a blizzard of things this weekend. I certainly want to share this before I forget. Something happened to me experience-wise that I've never had happen before. And it really kind of blew my mind. I think that when the Creator, when he, like, I don't know what the best word for enlightens you, when that happens to you, you better be ready for it, man, because it's I don't know how to describe it. I had a situation happen to me. Let me see. I think it was Saturday or Friday. I was faced with something, and I think that the Creator, he allowed it on purpose, and it was a source of. I'm trying to figure out how to describe it. In the past, it would have troubled me greatly, and then it happened to me Friday, and I was just sitting there, and it seemed like I got sudden wisdom on how to deal with it. And the Creator basically just said, just concentrate on the, basically just to concentrate on the light. Now, I did that, and the situation in my mind, it just dissolved like it was a miracle. Now, only I know what happened. I can't describe it fully, but I do know it had never happened that powerfully to me before. Now, I'm telling y'all because this is the same power that's open to faith, that I'm convinced, absolutely no doubt in my mind, that when you get influences, things come into your mind, they want to vex and afflict you, and you turn to the Creator. I know that he gave me wisdom one time to talk about focusing on things that you have done that bless your soul, or some in the OAHSPE, some teaching, some learning, or something you did, that when you come under certain vibrations, because we get hit with vibrations, and the purpose of them is to lower your grade, to keep you attached to your lower nature, to make you fearful, to make you afraid. Now, the situation I'm talking about, it happened to me once before. It was, if I were to give it a name, it was a panic attack. I came under a panic attack. I don't know if y'all know what that is, if you ever heard of it, but for no reason at all, I remember one time I have to share this and to give you an idea, like with a panic attack, what can happen to you. I remember one time, the only other time I really remember coming under a panic attack. I was on the freeway. I was in California. I got off work. I had to pull over at the side of the road because I didn't know what was going on. Later, I found out it was a panic attack, and I didn't know. It's basically where you make a mountain out of a molehill. And so I didn't know how to deal with it. And I do remember it because you don't want to go through them things, man. And people, they go through it a lot in this reality. It lets you know that the spiritual realm is real. It's for real, man. And now that happened, it happened again to me Friday. It happened again to me Friday. I came back from the clinic and um, I had something that I started thinking about, and it was beginning to become a panic attack. And so I just asked Jehovah what to do. And he said, concentrate on something that you have done or something that you have learned or something that has blessed your soul, and just stay on it and focus on it. And so I did it. And that panic attack, it just I don't even know how to describe it. It dissolved. It just disappeared in the thin air. And I was pretty much in a state of shock. I was really, I don't know how to describe how, because I don't testify like that a lot. And I think I'm sharing that because this is the power that faith has had. We have the knowledge to deal with Uzian, Drugian spirits. You got it. And I just can't help it. But I believe that if it happens to me, it'll happen to anyone, man. Because I'm pretty hard-headed dude, man. It's hard for me to get it. And so I just have this outlook where, you know, people, I think that if something can happen for me, it's certainly got to happen for you. It most certainly must. It must. I just won't let you tell me differently. You know, I just feel like I have, most of the faithists that I know, I look at them above myself. I have more respect for them. I just do, man. So I'm saying that I'm more impressed with them than I am myself. And I'm just telling you, brethren, I'm telling you because I'm sorry, man, but if I have access to this power, you got it. You have got it, man. If you've ever had a panic attack, I'm telling you, man, it's not funny, you know. And for the first time, the Creator showed me how this is how you deal with it. Now that was Friday. It's Tuesday now, and nothing at all, nothing at all, no problems or anything. And I know that it's forever, it's permanent, as long as I'm willing to uh, walk in the light. You know, I'm just positive. I have not experienced anything like that before. You know, and I'm telling you, brethren, running and telling you because I want you to know the same thing. I want you to realize that the same thing applies to you. I just, I just, I loved it, man. I just loved it. Okay, now I'm gonna be real short in the announcements because I got hit with a lot this weekend. You seen all them videos, those titles that I uploaded? They're all for the same day. And I'm gonna just try to. I don't want to try to blast through them, but I'm gonna try to get to each one of those studies on the video today. So I'm gonna just be real brief with the announcements, and I want to get to these studies. Now on the screen, you can go there. It's University of Faith Cosman. You can get ministry and information there. You can go in the description box if there are any brethren that need charity, then you can contact me. And also, this channel is for brethren who subscribe to the OAHSPE Bible, the OAHSPE Guidebook, Faithists. The Unknown Many have put out a 6-volume set. This meant to be a supplement to the OAHSPE itself. It's just a supplement. And if you want, you can contact me, and I'm willing to send it to you for free. I just ask you don't take advantage of me. I send it to you for free. I just love the way the creator, he um the unknown many have put out a um a 6-volume set. I'm trying to get to it right now, at least show you a picture of it. And then you can contact me. If you want me to send it to you, I'll send it to you for free, you know? And so the unknown many have put it out. It's just a supplement to the OAHSPE. It's written in baby form. It's for people with a short attention span, you know? It just kind of hits you. It just hit and runs. It just gives you the chapter, or not the chapter, it gives you the verse, puts a little summary on it, hopefully to grab your attention and then get you to pick up the OAHSPE and do a deep dive into it and read it and begin your walk, your journey. And so just contact me if you are a little short on funds. They selling it on Amazon. And, you know, just tell me, hey, man, you know, I'm a little short. I could appreciate if you bail me out this time, help me out this time, and I'll be glad to do it. You know, I think that's what faithists are called to do. Freely you have received, freely give, you know. So I'm going to move because I got a lot of studies, all them studies that I got listed. I'm going to try to go through each of them without blowing through it. And, you know, so I just have to thank the creator for showing me that he give us ways to fight, man. You know, he might not remove the situation, but he'll give you knowledge he'll give you knowledge to deal with Druidian influences and spirits. You know, people are different vibrations in this reality, and they need. Sometimes people, they have problems with their spirit, and they don't know what to do. And the creator is sitting there telling you. I mean, the solution is so incredible. I mean, I just can't say enough about what happened, and I just want to share it with you, brethren, to let you know that when things come on you, man, you know, you can, and I'm sure you already know this. I just hope you have to pay attention to how maybe he might not deal with the situation. Maybe you have to go through it for a little bit, you know, but ultimately I think that he will deal with the situation if it's almost getting overwhelming, where he'll take it away. And that's what happened to me. That's what happened to me. And so I'm just here to tell you and testify. And, you know, we coming into a time, man, where I think we're going to be, I don't know how to say it. I've been talking a lot about the situation geopolitically in the world and how the world is not ready. The world is not ready for this time of AG that we going through. The world is not ready, man. I'm telling you the truth, it ain't ready. Now, bear with me while I bring up the study. I'm gonna get right into it because I got a lot, man, to share. I got a lot. I ain't gonna get through it all. Now, normally I do the reading of what a faith this is, and you can just go to the website, scroll down, you can read it for yourself. I got a lot that I want to share, so I want to get right to it. I'm not going to get all of them studies in. The studies were, oh, shoot, I can't remember the name of them. One of them was sex. I wanted to do what the creator said about that. This is another one, process of judgment. Another study that I want to get into is, I can't remember the name of them all. It's like 5 of them that I want to do in this video. So let me get to it. I'm not looking at the chat, so I can't, you know, no offense. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. I get discombobulated easy. I found that out. And so I need to focus on these studies when I'm doing my video, and I'll get to you when I'm at the end of the video, or unless, you know, something else comes up. Anyway, this study number 1 that I wanted to do real quick, it's called The Process of Judgment. Exactly. Now, I'm doing these studies because I came under heavy inspiration this weekend. I dang near went online Saturday, Saturday or this weekend. I felt a little pressure to do it now, do the study now, and I decided to wait till Tuesday. So I'm gonna go a little fast. This study is called The Process of Judgment. Exactly. The process of judgment, exactly. And this is important because this will help us to shape our perspective, man. You know, it's another way of redeeming the time. So when we know exactly what we are headed for, we can really redeem the time, man. We can cut the fat and really focus on things that are important. We here, we on the earth, we might as well take full advantage, man. Full advantage of this time that we have in on the red star, which is the earth. Now, the process of judgment, exactly. He says, yes, this is exactly how OAHSPE describes the process of judgment in the afterlife. Self-judgment with clear perspective. Now I'm gonna do a little editing while I'm moving along here. Let me see if I can do a little editing to, okay, it says, oh, you can go back. All right, it says, OAHSPE teaches that Jehovah does not act as an external, angry judge who sentences souls. And I'm sure a lot of you, brethren, a lot of these things you already know, but it's good to be reminded and to go over it again and really get it down thick into our spirits. OAHSPE teaches that Jehovah does not act as an external judge who sentences souls. And the perception Christianity has taught us to fear the Creator, to look at him like he's somebody he just can't wait to get a hold of you, man, and just choke you out, you know? And so OAHSPE clears up a lot of the perspective of who the Creator is. OAHSPE teaches that the Jehovah is not an external angry judge who sentences souls. Instead, the Creator arranges the spirit world so that every soul, look here, that's the point I really want to focus on in this particular study. It judges itself. It judges itself with perfect clarity, Here are the key principles. Full memory returns, our full memory. This is the miracle of our reality, man. You know, this is the miracle of the afterlife, and these are the libraries of heaven. The Creator is opening clearly so we can take advantage of the time while we in this reality. Full memory returns right after death or upon awakening in the spirit realm. The soul regains complete recollection of its entire mortal life. Every thought, word, motive, and deed. All self-deceptions, excuses, and illusions fall away. The person sees themselves exactly as they are. Natural self-assessment. With this clear perspective, the soul automatically recognizes its own spiritual grade, its level of light or darkness. It then gravitates naturally to the place that matches its inner condition. How do you like that, man? You know, we all got a grade. We all, if I'm not mistaken, if I understand this correctly, we're all embedded with a spiritual grade. And the good thing is that nobody really has. There are people that may have a bit of a, I don't know if I can say this right, you know, but we start with a grade. It's basically where we start. It ain't where we end. Some people, they may have more of a, uh, I don't even know if I could say that. I wanted to say, you meet people, man, they really nice. They really, seem to be free of tat racks and everything, good attitudes, man. They carry themselves with dignity and respect themselves, respect other people, and seem like they got a naturally high spiritual grade. And then you got some people, they just have these proclivities to rob a bank, or to go out and commit all kinds of crimes. Different spiritual grades, but it ain't where you start, it's where you finish with spirituality. It ain't where faith is start. It's where your grade, we each start with a grade and we go from there. Basically, it's all it is. There are brethren they may overtake brethren who had a head start on them spiritual grade wise. They started off at grade 4. The one brother started off at grade 20. And the brother that was a grade 4, he overtook the brother that was a grade 20. That sounds like spirituality to me, based on based on your desire, based on your effort, based on your will to know the light, to walk in it. That's basically reality. It's up to each of us how fast we resurrect, how slow we resurrect. The choice is all ours. Natural self-assessment, man. Natural self-assessment when it comes to when we're born into the real life. With this clear perspective, the soul automatically recognizes its own spiritual grade, its level of light or darkness. It then gravitates naturally to the place that matches its inner condition. Souls filled with love, purity, kindness, and service rise quickly to brighter, harmonious heavens. Souls burdened with selfishness, lust, anger, cruelty, or unrepentant harm are drawn to lower regions, hells, knots, Drugen places where conditions reflect their own state. You just cannot argue with the Creator, man. You know that? You just cannot. I mean, the justice, the logic, the fairness of the Creator, it is what's a good word for? It's fair, man. I mean, it is it is it has no flaws. It's without flaws. No eternal punishment. These lower places are not vengeful torture inflicted by Jehovah. They are natural schools where the soul eventually tires of its own darkness and chooses to rise. Angels, called physicians and deliverers, are always present to help willing souls when they cry out to Jehovah. See, you read this stuff here, it gives you a clear picture of the world, man. You see the world, you see people are tied to the world, tied to the earth, things of the earth, the money, the shiny cars, the big house, the white picket fence, vacations, all that. And it's nothing wrong with any of those things, except for when it interferes with your spiritual progress. That's the only problem right there. No one will be able to argue with the justice of the Creator. That's the thing. And faithists are just an amazing thing, man. They're amazing thing. I'm also talk. I think I'm gonna talk a little bit about. I revisited a post about John 14:22 that I posted on Facebook. That it talks about how Mary, when she greeted Elizabeth, when John the Baptist was in her womb, or when what is it? Is it the other way around? They were both pregnant, Mary and Elizabeth. Mary came to greet Elizabeth. And when she walked into the room, John the Baptist leapt in the womb. Remember that? John 14:22. And really, that's a picture of faith. It's because we on the earth, we ain't born yet. But when the light touch you, even while we in the embryo, man, we react. Even it's a miracle. It's just like I remember I had a girlfriend. She was pregnant. Well, she Pregnant? No, she wasn't pregnant. What am I talking about then? What happened? What do I remember? She told me when she was pregnant, she used to feel her baby move, and she would put her hands on her stomach to, they could feel the baby move, man. You know, and it's the same with faith. Life imitates spirituality. We come into contact with the OAHSPE. We here on the earth. We in the embryo. The Creator says we ain't even born. We ain't even born into the real life, man. We see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Remember the Bible? That part is true. We here, we on the earth, we see through a glass darkly, the light touches, and we jump, and we here in the womb. We ain't even born yet. Most of the world, I don't know how to say a polite word for like stillborn. Most of the world, man, meaning don't find the Creator, don't find the light. You tell them they can't react to it. It's a spiritual element. It's a terrible thing. They're not lost though. It just means that there are brethren who are able, even before they are born, man, that they are elected and chosen to, they just are able to resonate with the light, even before they're born into the real life, which is the Spirit. There are direct teachings from OAHSPE in the Book of Judgment. God explains every man shall be his own judge. He shall see himself as he is. We shall see ourselves as we really are. He shall place himself. Ain't that something? Remember that story I was telling y'all about Andy Griffith? That dude, I think his name was Otis. Y'all remember Andy Griffith's show, Otis? He was the town drunk, and he would come in at night and lock himself up. He would go out, and then he would come back, and then he would get the keys, and then he would open the jail cell and lock himself in, and go to bed for the night. He placed himself, he judged himself, okay, is what I'm trying to. Same with us. The Creator says we somehow are going to see ourselves. You know what I mean? It's like we have like 100 doors from 1 to 100, and then there we are. We in the Spirit. We finally made it, and then we see ourselves, and then we say, and then we walk towards the door that's us, according to our perfect clarity. We won't argue, man. We will know then as we are known now. You just can't. You see yourself and you gravitate to your natural grade. I think there's some beauty in that, and then you go from there. We each start from our grade, and we begin our resurrection from there. There is no judgment like unto the judgment a man puts upon himself when he stands in the light of his own soul. The Book of Cosmogony and Prophecy adds that after death, the spirit enters a state where the veil is removed, and it beholds its life with unclouded eyes. The self-vision is the true judgment, bright and hopeful. Is the true judgment, bright and hopeful aspect. Bright and hopeful aspect. Let me do a little editing here. Bright and hopeful aspect. Bright and hopeful aspect. Even if a person lived in pain, mistakes, burdens. See, that's another, I found an incredible thing, man. In the Bible, I think there's a psalm where it says, man, I can't remember it. It's somewhere in the psalm where it says, thou hast crushed me in the womb, or crushed my bones. And I may speculate on that a little bit later on. I'm just getting ahead of myself right now, but the same analogy is for us as faithists, man. They say when you want to get the full fragrance of a rose, you have to crush it. You have to crush it, man. And that's what's happening to us. And there's an analogy in the Book of Psalms. I forget where it's at. I'll get to it later on, where basically that's happening to us. We in life, we got pain, we got mistakes, we got burdens, we got self-inflicted wounds we put on our soul. And then it's hard for us to, we get down on ourselves. We don't want to go through what we're going through, but it kind of has to be that way, you know? That's because we get crushed, man, in this reality. Things happen, make you sad, make you mad. You get angry, you know. We getting crushed, man. We here in the womb getting crushed, but it's to our benefit, man. We have to know the creator is, what's the old saying? I forget. It's something that has to do with friction creates a diamond or something like that. I mean, you don't like it when you're going through it. I don't want to hear that when I'm going through troubles and problems and stuff, you know. But he yielded the peaceable fruit of righteousness, right? After you go through it. See, the fact that we know these things, man, you know what I'm saying? To know these things, man. Don't, isn't it better to see than to be blind? You know what I mean? Isn't it better to know, you know, to not have to be somewhere you don't know what's going on, you don't know what it's all about. You in darkness, man, and you cannot find your way out, man. And that's the majority of the world, you know? It's a bittersweet thing, man, you know? The whole deal is a bittersweet deal. There's some brethren, they come into the knowledge of the light, they're able to, while they're in the womb, they begin to make themselves. See, I put up a study, man. There's another study I put up there on Facebook, and it had to do with the 11th diving law. Diving is short for divinity. Y'all remember that? Read the 11th diving law. I got it there on Facebook. I may get to it at the end of the study. I posted it. It was an incredibly beautiful thing, man. It was telling you what faith is, the benefit they have of being a faithist. One of the benefits they have is the 11th diving law. It's called the 11th diving law. If you want to look it up right now, go chase it down right now, and you can go check it out, read it. It's a blessing. I'll get to it later on. Try to get through this study. The bright and hopeful aspect of self-judgment. It says, even if a person live with pain, mistakes, burdens, or weakness, the moment of clear perspective after death is also a moment of great mercy and opportunity. Many souls, upon truly seeing themselves, immediately turn to Jehovah with sincere regret and begin their resurrection right then. This system puts power in your hands now. Creator, he puts power in your hands right now. It says, by living with honesty, practicing the four bright sides. That's what I was talking about earlier. I came under attack from the four corners. See, OAHSPE faithist, we know that there's the circle, right? There's the circle. The sign of the creator is a circle, the cross in the middle, and then the leaf. The corners represent the dark influences of the Druidian spirits. Now, you new to this channel, you don't know what I mean. This is where you have to get in touch with the OAHSPE and go to the Faithist website and join us for our ministries where we have Bible talk. And I also forgot to mention the Thursday brother, Robert Bear. His link is in the description area. You got to get in contact with him. He has a Thursday study where we pray and we take advantage of the time, man. But I was talking about this earlier, the four corners, the soul seems is made up of bright sides like east, west, north, south, right? And then there's northeast, southeast, southwest, southeast. And that's where the evil influences come from. They're called Druidian influences. They influence you, man. That's what I came under attack Friday. And I didn't really recognize it. That was a groundbreaking event, what happened to me Friday. That was groundbreaking. I came under attack. I wanted to panic about something that really was nothing at all. But the mind is like, when these Druidians, they can affect you and they put something in your mind and make you start over worrying about, and that's what happened to me. It came on me, and it's like the Ashar, my guardian angel, said, Yaikwab, this is what you do. You're under attack right now. Now, what I want you to do is to focus on something that you read, something that you did, something that someone told you, something, the creator shared with you. And I want you to just stay focused on that. So that's what I did. And that panic attack, man, that attack that I came under, it was it was just the most amazing thing you ever seen. It was the most amazing. I mean, that was a groundbreaking time in my life. I honestly admit, man, that the creator he taught me a little bit about how to fight spiritually, how to fight, man, and that's what made me almost want to. I almost wanted to go live at 1 or 2 in the morning. you know, I was tempted, man. You got to go live right now. Run and tell these other brethren who need to hear that. And then I calmed down and said, "Oh, no, I'm gonna wait until Tuesday." So it says, this system puts power in your hands now. By living with honesty, practicing the 4 bright sides: wisdom, purity, unselfishness, and peace. That's north, south, east, and west. Those are the bright sides. North, south, east, west. That's where the excuse me, positive influences come from. North, south, east, west. The negative influences come from the northwest, northeast, southwest, southeast. That's where the dark spirits come from. And the OAHSPE, it gives you a picture of that very thing. Remember the brother, the initiate, I think it was? He got approached from the northeast, and the Drusian said, "Punk, who are you? Come here. I'm going to whoop your little, what are you doing here, you son of a, and he knew how to answer him. And that spirit went away. The creator, he shows you. He shows you, man. I tell you, you just got to be ready for those groundbreaking events. And it could be a lot of them coming up very shortly, with the events of the world turning for the worse, like they're gonna be. I'm gonna try to touch on that a little bit too towards the end of the video. I got a lot. Even now I'm way behind, even though you see me talking faster. It says, in reaching to Jehovah, even in weakness, you prepare a joyful self-judgment and a smoother rise in the afterlife. Then this is an AI study, so you can't always trust AI. That's one thing I found. You can't just take this stuff here, and believe it. You have to know, you have to have a pretty good foundation, man. AI can open the door for deception too. See, let's go to the next part. It says some verses dealing with the process of judgment. Exactly. Some verses. It says the book of judgment is one of the most practical and direct sections in OAHSPE, delivered through the spirit world. Yes, it outlines grades of mortals and angels, self-judgment in the afterlife, warnings about Druges, and the cosmic era path of resurrection through personal responsibility and good works. Personal responsibility and good works. I'm going to do a little editing here while I'm doing the study. Core theme: self-judgment with clear perspective. Got to remember that. That's we clear. See, if people knew, that what the crazy, you hear people think, man, I'm a Christian, I can put it all on his charge account, Jesus Christ, But the creator, the way he do business, he don't need to threaten you with a, he turns you around from the soul. You turn yourself around without being threatened. And then you want to correct what you have done on the earth. You want to do it because clear perspective help you to see things from the other person's viewpoint. Now, see, you got to see it how they seen it, how they felt about it. You see, the Creator let you see it so that you turn your own self. You turn your own self. There's no better way than that, is there? There ain't no better way, man. See, that's where it says that all mouths will be stopped in the Bible. The Creator, he know how to do that. See, stop all mouths. Every mouth will be stopped. Meaning it won't be nothing you could say. Clear perspective, man. Self-judgment with clear perspective. This directly, go back. Self-judgment with clear perspective. This directly addresses your earlier statement. Judgment is not an external sentencing by Jehovah or God, but an internal process of clear vision. Clear vision, man. God said, there will be a day of judgment unto thee, O man. Sooner or later, thou shalt take the matter into thine own hand, and thou shalt look into thine own soul to judge thyself. This is unto all men, none can escape it. Such then is the judgment day. Let no man complain against the judge. Thou shalt be thine own judge. Thou shalt be thine own judge. Thou shalt be thine own judge. And everyone that judges against himself, and everyone judges against himself, and sooner or later crieth thou, O Jehovah, I have sinned against thee. And you look at the world, and people are naturally hard on themselves. People can be pretty daggone hard on themselves, man. You know, self-judgment. They can be pretty hard on themselves, man. The Creator says now you do it with perfect vision. Perfect vision. That's the only way to, what's a good word for recompense yourself, you know? Before you can go on, it's like you have to clean out. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense? The Creator, he gets you started on your resurrection, but first, he cleans everything out, man. He cleans everything out through repentance, man. And then you go forward with a healthy conscience and a clean slate. With a clear conscience and a clean state, clean slate. But before that journey can begin, the slate has got to be, you know, that's how I understand it. The Creator, he wants, you know, there can't be no inhibitions or regrets, it seems. And the only way that can happen is we have to know that the total recompense has been made. How that happens, I don't know, but you want that way, you know, you want the full benefit. You don't want regrets going forward. And it seemed like the Creator is saying, you know, that gets dealt with. And then you begin with a clean slate going forward, you know, make recompense. And then you begin your journey. You know, you don't want to have regrets and, you know, that sort of thing. And it says, after death, full memory returns and illusions fall away. The soul sees its life exactly as it was and naturally gravitates to the spiritual grade place, matching its light or darkness. This is merciful because it is educational. It is educational. Even lower places help the soul eventually desire to rise. Lower places eventually help the soul, the desire to rise. Practical guidance for judgment and resurrection from Book of Judgment, chapter 13. Strong emphasis on personal responsibility. This is the beginning of thy resurrection, and thou shalt be thine own judge and master. Now, these are just some verses to back up the reality of self-judgment. Just some verses to back up the reality of self-judgment. We judge ourselves. Neither shalt thou call out, God, God, exalt my soul, until thou hast first begun to do something for thyself here on the earth. Personal responsibility. That's the one thing. The power of religion, especially Christianity, is the big negative is it can take away motivation. It can take away motivation and personal responsibility. That's why the Creator, he gets down on it, because it ain't helping you. So here are some verses. I'm going to just let you, if you want to read it, I have to get to these. I got a lot of the other studies that so here you can read it. You can scroll and read it if you want. Lower influences and warnings chapter. Thou shalt suffer evil spirits and all manner of Judas, vampires, and grafters to come unto mortals who subscribe to the lower influences. So you can just read this if you want to. The Book of Judgment is a sobering, exposing darkness, self-deception, deeply hopeful. Jehovah gives every soul liberty, clear vision, endless opportunity to rise. No one is eternally damned. Resurrection is always possible. The moment a soul turns honestly to the Creator, if you like. Okay, so now let me stop this, put an end to this. Last time I was doing the study and didn't even realize that I hadn't changed the screen. So let me get to the next study. Let's see. Give me a second while I bring up this next study here. Okay. If I can find it. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. Let me see. How about how to do this one, this study here. This one is how to attract. Let me set it up. I'm trying to set it up. Just bear with me. I'm all changing screens and stuff. Okay, now, real quick, the next one here is how to attract righteous spirits and how to keep off evil spirits. And I think that I was influenced to do this because of what happened to me Friday. And seeing the power, when you see something with your own eyesight, there's no better witness than that, man. And I don't consider myself a lot of spiritual things happening to me, like other people can testify. And I think I was motivated to do this study because of the experience that I had. And I hope it's just the beginning of a long line of learning for me. And let's see, how to attract righteous spirits and keep off evil spirits. How to attract righteous spirits and keep off evil spirits. It says in OAHSPE Book of Wars Against Jehovah, chapter 7. This teaching belongs to the first degree. Okay, these are part of the 5 degrees of a newbie. That's another study that I was going to do. Now, let me look at it because I might want to skip this one and wait until. Okay, this ain't the actual study, but it touches on what's called the 5 degrees of a newbie. And this is not the study that I'm going to do on that. It's kind of an addendum that has to do with attracting righteous spirits and keeping off evil spirits. But I have a study called The 5 Degrees of a Newbie that I think you're going to get a kick out of. It's something that is open to faithists and has to do with your higher resurrection. It has to do with your spiritual education. It has to do with your, what's a good word for graduating, going from level to level. It's called The 5 Degrees of a Newbie and what's required. But for now, I'm going to do this one. This is a small little study right here, and it's going to mention a little bit about the a newbie. It's called the newbie degrees, and it's a similar. It's like the Masons have 30-something degrees, or something like that. I'm not saying the newbie degrees are the same thing, but the same model is in the world today, where you have secret societies and they have levels of whatever levels of learning, and now it says this teaching belongs to the first degree. Now this the first degree of a newbie is where you learn about how to sit in circles and in crescents, and you're taught the 4 dark corners. The 4 dark corners. 4 dark corners are important as hell, man. When you learn about the 4 dark corners, this is a part of everybody's makeup. Everybody's makeup is a part. The 4 dark corners are a part of everybody's makeup. The best enemy is the one that you don't know exists, and that's their thing. If you don't know they exist, you cannot fight them. You can't recognize them. You can't target them. You cannot do battle with them. You cannot do battle with them. You don't know how to defeat them. And if they get a hold of you, man, and they can get, that's why some people commit suicide. The 4 dark corners, man. If they get a hold of you and you don't know how to defend yourself, a faithist should know how to defend yourself against these influences. We each are subject to them. The 4 dark corners. The first degree of a newbie, it teaches you how to sit in circles and in crescents, a half circle. It teaches you the 4 dark corners and the 4 bright sides. It teaches you how to ascertain what grade in heaven the spirits came and how to keep off evil spirits, how to attract righteous spirits. Taught them how to develop in suis and sarges, and so far as knowing about attracting righteous spirits and evil spirits, we all got kind of like a little template, a little gift, a little ability in each of us. I mean, once you learn the light, then you know that everything, the light exposes darkness, Let me read first before I expound. It says, practical explanation, straightforward. How to attract righteous spirits. Now, check this out. Sit in proper formation, circle. This is like, imagine, it's like 10 of you. It's telling you how to attract righteous spirit. This spiritual thing here, 1 second. You read sometime in the OAHSPE, this is what they did. During the council or during the change of Ethereal gods, the circles, the crescents. Sit in proper formation. Circles for balance, power, or crescents for directed focus. So you sit in a circle for, like, let's say you want everybody to, let me digress for a second. You say, like, you sit like in a circle, and then it's like the energy is evenly divided, if I can say that. You're in a circle, everybody's connected, right? But when you sit in a crescent, that's a half circle, and the open side, you see that in like the UN, matter of fact, they got a little bit of knowledge. The world, false gods, they give these principles to the world. Like, you look at the UN, or you look at like these functions, a lot of times it's like a half crescent where the open side is towards the speaker. So they know they got knowledge from false gods, give this type of knowledge to the world. And it's for attracting. The common denominator is it attracts. You sit in a circle or you sit in a crescent. In this case, we're wanting to learn how to attract righteous spirits. It says these shapes create harmonious conditions that brighter, higher, righteous spirits, meaning those aligned with Jehovah's light, find attractive. How do you like that? It's a mystery. Spirit looking at you and your group, you're in a circle, you're in a crescent, and they look at it and say, hey man, I'm gonna hook up with them. Let me go down there and fellowship with them or talk to them or whatever. You're in a circle or you're in a crescent. Create a bright, pure atmosphere. Use the bright sides. Maintain cleanliness, kind thoughts, pure words, prayers of praise to Jehovah. Righteous spirits are drawn to light, harmony, and sincerity. So you're in a group. I was looking at a video, man. And it was the Druidian spirits. Do I want to say that? It was us. It was a party. It was a worldly party, okay? It was a worldly party. They were drinking. It was fleshly. I don't want to sound harsh. You know what goes on it looked like a earthly party, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean? A lot of drinking going on. It was a lot of flesh going on. And I immediately said to myself, man, I would not want to be there. I would not want to be in that atmosphere. I'm saying it now as an older man and a faithist. Back then, I would have made a beeline for that type of place, party like that, But when you come into the light and you start thinking spiritually, you can see things, just like we were talking earlier. One thing the Creator has gifted the faithist with, you have a sensibility about it. When you come into the light and you learn spirituality, this type of spirituality, you should be able to pick up on your surroundings, get a vibration, get some sense, like a spider sense. You know what I mean? If I may be described, there should be some sort of sensitivity we have that we're in the world, our surroundings. We should be able to pick up even a little bit, man, on our surroundings. We know we in the world. It's the Uzian spirits here, influenced by Druidian spirits and anti-Jehovian spirits. That tells you enough right there to be careful when you get hooked up with a big crowd, man. One way to attract righteous spirits, you create a bright, pure atmosphere. Use the 4 bright sides. Maintain cleanliness, kind thoughts, pure words, prayers of praise to Jehovah. Righteous spirits are drawn to light, harmony, and sincerity. That's the template of a faithist right there. So Creator, he makes it easy. You create that 4 bright side atmosphere. Carry yourself in this way, you attract righteous spirits. Call properly. Invoke through prayer to Jehovah first. Not directly to specific spirits, not directly to specific spirits. Righteous spirits come willingly to help, teach, or comfort when the conditions are pure. Develop suis, clairvoyance, and sargis, materialization. As the group or individual grows more sensitive, righteous spirits can manifest more clearly: voices, visions, gentle touches, or even visible forms. So, as a group or individual grows more sensitive, and that takes practice, man. I think there's some people in the world a little more gifted spiritually, sensitivity wise. I don't think I'm one of those people. I think that it takes practice, man, to grow sensitive to the spiritual. I think that takes practice, man. It takes meditation. If you sincere, if you for real, man, and you want to avail yourself of spirituality, of the help that the Creator is sitting here promising you, I don't think you just say it and then it happened. You know what I mean? You just say it one time and all of a sudden you spiritual and all. It take practice, man, you know. As the group or individual grows more sensitive, righteous spirits can manifest more clearly voices, visions, gentle touches, or even visible forms. How to keep off evil spirits? Drew just use the four dark use use the four dark corners. These represent protective boundaries or barriers in the chamber. So you're in a chamber, you're in a circle, you're in a crescent. It says evil or low grade spirits are confined or repelled to the dark areas while the group stays in the light. OAHSPE give you a lot of that type of picture. Discern grades. Learn to recognize the source and quality of a spirit by its words, feelings it brings, or behavior. Low spirits bring heaviness, fear, confusion, selfishness, or lies. Protective practices. Strong repeat. That's what I was told to do. I was told to focus. It's like I felt like I wanted to come under attack. The four dark corners, I came under attack. It's like they wanted to attack me. They wanted me to stress out over something. And I wanted to go along with it. And then it's like the Ashars, the OAHSPE calls them our Ashars, our guardians, our guardian angels. Each one has one. Whether you choose to listen to them or not, it's up to you. And I chose to listen, man. It said, look, it set your mind on something that it blessed your soul, or something you did that really blessed your soul, or something someone told you that blessed your soul, or something that you read that blessed your soul, and just keep focused on that. And that creates a wall of fire for the door, for dark corners. I seen it. I mean, I didn't, when I say seen it, I mean I experienced it. I have to say it's probably one of the first most, I've been in a faith this for a couple of years now, and I think that was groundbreaking what happened Friday. It's kind of like it's letting you know this is, you know, I'm for real. The Creator saying, look, Yaquab, look, you know, you full of doubt, man. You got a lot of doubt, but I'm telling you, I'm for real. You know, I am for real. You know, 2 years, man. And then finally something like that happened to me. So it's like the Creator, he tests you. You know, you start out, you know, you don't really see anything, you don't know anything, you haven't heard anything, you haven't experienced anything. And that's like the Creator is testing you, you know. He don't just hit you all of a sudden with, you know, all kinds of, you know what I mean? All kinds of successes and victories, and you know, protective practices from evil spirits. Strong repeated prayers to Jehovah create a wall of light that evil spirits cannot easily access. I mean, I still come under attack like anybody, you know, my thoughts and, you know, these type of things. And but it's like I have a resource to deal with them. It's like the Creator has given me a way to, an effective way to keep them at a distance. Strong repeated. That's what I was told. I was told to focus on what, if you something blessed your soul, you read something, you learned something, or you did something, or someone said to you, or something, you know, focus on that. And it creates a wall of light, man. It creates a wall of light that evil spirits cannot easily cross. It says maintain personal purity, clean living, no flesh eating, and higher practice, kind thoughts. Command low spirits to depart in Jehovah's name if they intrude. Avoid curiosity seeking or calling spirits for selfish reasons. This opens doors to druges. That's where people, it seems like people, they play with that stuff, man. You know, Ouija boards and seances and stuff. You know, it seems like people, they play with spirits, man. Curiosity. This opens doors to druges, man. You know, influences. And it takes some people too far, man. You know, unclean influences, druges. People do think you're under righteous influence or negative influence. Either righteous or negative influence. That's what any one of us is under, one or the other. Core principle. Righteous spirits come by attraction through light and harmony. Righteous spirits come by attraction and light and harmony. So there you are, you know, outside in public, and you're carrying yourself in the light of the Creator and the bright sides and wisdom and light and harmony and peace, and you attract righteous spirits. You attract them. Righteous spirits come by attraction through light and harmony. Light and harmony. Evil spirits are kept away by barriers of purity and divine authority. Barriers of purity and divine authority. So you out there, you carrying yourself in the light, you know, guarding your thoughts, guarding your words, guarding your actions. Evil spirits are kept away by that stuff. This first degree was open to anyone. The Anubi degrees, the first degree, the Anubi degrees, it was open to anyone who wanted to learn heavenly things. The first degree, the Anubi degrees, that's open to anybody. What we talked about up here, all this, that's open to anybody. You know, start out the first degree. The first degree was open to anyone who wanted to learn heavenly things. Now, the higher degrees, degrees 2 through 5, were mostly reserved for faithists because they require deeper purity and commitment. These methods were part of the ancient system for safe spirit communion, protecting people from druidian influences while allowing genuine and angelic guidance. See, that's how the Creator, he protect his light, his knowledge, his people, his kingdom, the Creator. See, the system we live under right now, it's a failed system because they don't know how to adequately assess the human heart. The system we live, like this election system, this system of governance, the world can not accurately assess the human heart. They don't know how to do it. And we have a system where men are elected to rule over the rest of us. And these are men subject to corruption and evil and greed and lust. Matter of fact, they are often the least qualified, the people who rise to public office spiritually. The OAHSPE points out a weakness in the system we live under. If we don't want to subscribe to the commandment, you know, the Creator's been given, he's been with us from creation up until now, and we don't want to live under the authority and the knowledge and the light of the Creator. We just don't want to do it. Now, some people do, faithists do, and they've been scattered here through all that time. They've been scattered here. They've been a minority. And we're under a system that the Creator, he's exposing it, that as long as you do not know how to assess the human heart, you can never prosper. You can never prosper, man. So the creator, he's showing us his system. This is how he protects his kingdom. He uses time, he uses light, he uses knowledge, and that's the best judge right there. When you set a person, they have to endure, you test their endurance. In this reality here, you get people, they get elected, they go to office, and they have a track record of what? Okay, they were in the Boy Scouts, and okay, they were in the 4-H society. They did a lot of volunteer work, all of that covering like what? From junior high through high school through college. Okay, they went to ROTC. Okay, they developed a little record, but still, we see the result of the system we live under. You can't, people, like our country, we live in a country where money it buys allegiances, meaning people, you pay them, they will do your bidding. And that often means the majority of people will suffer, which leads me to what I'm not going to talk about it right now, but the geopolitical situation. So how do we reject evil spirits? How do we repel evil spirits? Okay, we looked at the first degree. Higher degrees, 2 through 5, were mostly reserved for faithists because they require deeper purity and commitment. The Creator, he doesn't open these degrees except to people who have proven they are able to have a deeper purity and commitment, mind, body, and soul. These methods were part of the ancient system for safe spirit communion, protecting people from Druidian influences while allowing genuine angelic guidance. This ties directly into your earlier questions about identifying and overcoming Druidian spirits. The same principles apply today. Turn first to Jehovah, keep the atmosphere pure, discern carefully. All right. So that's the study for attracting righteous spirits, keep off evil spirits. Walk in the light, you attract righteous spirits. Walk in the light, you keep off evil spirits. But before any of that, you have to have knowledge. We need knowledge. We need knowledge. When you come into contact with the light automatically exposes darkness. Like for myself, there are some people I get a read on their vibration that tells me to keep my distance. I think it's the same for a lot of people. A lot of people come under that. Now, let me see. Let me go to the next study. Let's see if I can bring it up without blowing up the video. Let's go to the next study. All right. Now, where's the next study? Where's sex? I had a study on sex that I want to share because now what led me to want to bring up that study on sex? What led me? Something influenced me to do that. What influenced me to do the study on it? It had something to do with something I was looking at it was a research, a video, and it had something to do with the decline in, had something to do with the decline. Hold on a second. Let me, I'm looking for the study that I did, and it looks like That's amazing how things just disappear on my computer. And that's one of them, but that's all right because I can just go right back. I can just bring the study up again, no problem. I can just bring the study up again. Now, somehow it just decided to vanish. I'm not really surprised that these things happen too. I think it's a spiritual element. The OAHSPE perspective on sex. Okay, just bear with me. I'm bringing up the study. I have to bring it back up again if you just bear with me. The OAHS. Let's erase this. The OAHSPE perspective on sex. Okay. Well, let me bring this up on the screen here. And I think the reason why I wanted to, what happened? I just lost my screen. Now, I think the reason why, doggone it, stop doing that. Stop. Okay, here we go. All right, what do we got here? The OAHSPE perspective on sex. Now, let me think for a second because there's something that caused me to want to somehow I got influenced to do this study. Now, I want to try to recover what that reason was. It had something to do with some famous guy, actually, now that I think about it. And he had like 10 kids by 6 women. He had like 10 kids. I mean, big deal, right? The whole world is filled with, you know, I mean, some people have a lot of children. Now, these were children that were, I mean, they were not from marriages, if you know what I mean. And we live in a country, false gods, they cater to our lower influence. They cater to the lower vibration. And it basically is anything that is pleasing, anything that they cater to, they try to tie people to um their fleshly nature. They do it to keep people tied to the earth, to keep people tied to the earth. And that's one of the most powerful ways of doing it. Is people are, what's a good word for, strongly attached to, I don't want to say like sex is a lower nature, but I want to know the creator's perspective on it and then compare it to the perspective that this country, talking about America specifically, has about it. I want to show the contradictions and expound on how it affects our present situation. Our present situation. Now, I really don't have to tell you, you know, you brethren, you can guess, even without even really knowing the OAHSPE. The OAHSPE is a great help, but it helps us to realize the breakdown of morality and what can happen. Part of our education is to learn, as faith is part of our education, is to learn when we don't want to subscribe to the creator and the template, the way of life that he has laid down for us. If anything, I want to show how devastating it can be. You know, first you lose the nail, right? The old saying, you lose the nail and then the whole ship went down, meaning one thing, at least when another starts off small and the ramifications become 100 times worse than than the thing that initiated the whole thing. The whole thing. Now, here, let me make sure I got it on the screen. So this is the study on sex, the creator's perspective on sex. Make sure I got it up there. Okay, we got it. Now, it says, OAHSPE's perspective on sex is clear. Clear, consistent, quite strict, especially for those walking the faith's path. Core teaching. Sex is not considered evil in itself, but it is a powerful creative force that must be used responsibly. OAHSPE views it primarily as a sacred act for procreation, bringing new souls into the world, strengthening spiritual harmony between husband and wife. Okay. Anything beyond that, especially lust-driven sex, is seen as a major force that pulls the spirit downward. Now, I think my memory is coming back to me. I saw a guy who treated sex like I'm in my mid 60s, you know what I mean? So I've been around the block, but this kind of surprised me to see his attitude. He has like 10 children, 6 different children's moms, and he wasn't finished, his attitude about women, about sex, the irresponsibility. No plans to take care of his children. No thought, no plans, man, Now, spiritually is the problem, The damage spiritually is the problem. It's the big problem that people don't see, don't think about. And they are devastating. Key points from OAHSPE. Sex belongs in marriage only. The idea is monogamous marriage, one husband, one wife. Sex outside of marriage, fornication, or casual sex is strongly discouraged because it invites lower Druidian spirits and it creates spiritual bonds with the wrong people and ties the soul to the 4 dark corners, especially lust. And in this country, we got a problem with sex. You know what I mean? We got a problem with sex because false gods know that is one way to bind people's spirits to the earth. That's one pretty good way to populate the lower heavens with the kingdoms, with false gods in their kingdoms in the spiritual. The spiritual implications, man. Sex outside of marriage, fornication, or casual sex is strongly discouraged because it invites lower drugen spirits. It creates, look at spiritual bonds with the wrong people. Spiritual bond, man, with the wrong people. See, and we played with sex. We were influenced, and ties the soul to the four dark corners, especially lust. Purpose of sex: best used for raising pure, elevated offspring. In the highest ideal, Shalem communities, marriage is for spiritual growth and creating better generations, not primarily for pleasure. How do you like that? The danger of carnal lust. The danger of carnal lust. OAHSPE repeatedly warns that lustful sex, even inside marriage, if driven by pure carnal desire, it lowers the vortex of both people and can allow druges and vampires to attach. It clouds the mind and makes resurrection much harder. The spiritual implications of sex, the misuse of it, it clouds the mind. It makes resurrection much harder. The Cosmere standard, the Shalem model, one marriage only in a lifetime. How do you like that? No remarriage, even if after death of spouse in the highest communities. Yeah, that's OAHSPE. One marriage only in a lifetime. No remarriage, even after death of spouse in the highest communities. Strong emphasis on chastity and self-mastery. Sex should be moderate and surrounded by purity, prayer, and good intent. See, I tell you, man, in our country, I could see how America, just talking about America, has really come under attack. Because the focus of the false gods, it seems, has been to attack the morality of America. Remember, when you read the OAHSPE and the founding of America, he sent the who was it? The Quakers over here? Was it the Quakers or the Pilgrims? He sent both, but one was sent by will of the Creator, and the other followed to spy and to thwart the efforts of the Creator to raise up America. Until now, it's worked. The story that the OAHSPE talks about, I think it was the Quakers, they oppressed the Pilgrims, or the other way around. I can't remember which group was rich. But you can see how the battle was on way back then, before the Pilgrims, they even came to this country. Way back then, that's when the battle started. The stage was set. The corruption of this country was set. And one of the tactics that false gods were going to use to thwart the raising up of the faithless community in America, one of those things was going to be the loosening of the morals. The loosening of the morals as a way to attack the very fabric of this country, to stop it from, because we're called to eventually to be in communities and to be if we do marry, it's only one time. And so when you read the OAHSPE, you read where Luamong, he had one of his angels report back to him about what was going on over here in America. And so that set the plan in motion to get us to where we are right now, a loosening of the morals, man. And so now it ain't nothing. It's like, it's no big deal, for people to get together outside of marriage, no commitment, have children, that sort of thing, And we don't think about the spiritual implications, man. You know, the Creator says we don't realize the spiritual implications of when people have sex outside of marriage, they have children outside of marriage, outside of the knowledge of the light of the Creator. And the situation just multiplies. You get generations and generations. And I mean, once you set that ball in motion, you get to where we got what we got right now. And in our world right now, man. And I'm going to touch on that a little bit after this study. I'm coming to the end of the study. Summary of OAHSPE view. It says sex is positive when it's used in sacred, committed marriage with the intent to raise good children and grow spiritually together. It's negative, meaning dangerous, when driven by lust, selfishness, or done outside proper marriage. It becomes one of the strongest tools Druges use to keep souls bound to the earth. They use our senses. They use what's a good word for, when you're tied to the senses, you're tied to the flesh, you're tied. There's a word for it that I can't think of it right now. They use our there's a word that I can't think of right now. It has to do with our I forget. When you're tied to the flesh, the senses of the flesh, you're tied to the pleasure of the flesh. It says this fits with the Vortexian teachings we were discussing. Uncontrolled sex creates heavy, tangled vortices that propel higher light and attract lower influences. Okay. Well, the next study is about druges and sex. Druges and sex. You think that, I mean, we're not going to get this in the Bible. Druges and sex. How druges connect to sex. How druges connect to sex. Druges are unresurrected spirits in the lower heavens that are they here on the earth and they influence mortals. Unresurrected spirit beings who come to the earth, and they influence mortals. Druges, unresurrected spirits. OAHSPE is very direct. Uncontrolled or lustful sex is one of the strongest ways druges, low earthbound spirits, gain power over a person. See, what's it called? There's a scientific term for where people, what's the name? The lust of the flesh. There's a scientific name for it. I can't remember it. Anyway, how druges connect to sex. OAHSPE is very direct. Uncontrolled or lustful sex is one of the strongest ways druges, meaning low earthbound spirits, gain power over a person. Key teachings. Lust and carnal sex create open doors for druges and vampire spirits, parasites, to attach themselves. When sex is driven by pure physical desire, especially outside sacred marriage, it produces a heavy, tangled vortex that attracts lower spirits. These druges then feed on the energy released during sex and try to keep the person locked in the cycle of craving. Specific warnings in OAHSPE. Sex outside of proper marriage, fornication, or even excessive lust inside marriage invites engrafters and vampires. These are druges that engraft themselves onto a person's spirit. Children conceived in strong carnal lust are more likely to be born with drugen influences attached to them. Druges use sex as a major tool to prevent souls from rising, keeping them tied to the earth in the four dark corners, especially lust. The higher path. OAHSPE's idea is chaste, sacred sex within a committed Jehovah-centered marriage with the main purpose being the creation of pure, elevated offspring. In the Shalem communities, the emphasis is on self-mastery and moderation. Moderation. Okay. So here are some other studies. I won't get into it right now. I wanted to go to there's a couple of other studies I want to share with you. Maybe I can do this at another time. These are some good studies right here. I'm tempted to do at least one of them. I think I'll pick it up another time because I have another. You know what? Man, was I even sharing? Yeah, I was. Good. All right. Now I want to go to another study. So that will be the study on sex. And maybe I can pick it up another time because the thing that's interesting is that this nation, it's like we were doomed from a long time ago, man. We were doomed from when you when you attack a culture, the very fabric. My mom used to tell me this is an oversexed society. It's meaning we lose our minds over sex. Lose our minds, man. Don't you think the powers that be that are fallen, that they realize that one way to keep people under bondage and slavery and subjection is to appeal to their five senses? You know, that's what you brethren are up against, man. Do you think about that from time to time, day to day? You know, what a miracle it is that you're able to get on this path to make the resurrection, to be called from the womb. We're in the womb right now. I'm getting ready to look at that study, that little study I did and post it in my room. John 14:22, the miracle of what is happening to us. Do you look around? Sometimes I think to myself, living here where I live, and I see a lot of people who are slave and bondage to the five senses. You know, I live close to the border. There's a lot of drugs that are flowing through the border. And once them things get a hold of you, may God help you, man, to get out, to break that addiction, And I know that. I mean, even the Christian God delivered, the Bible, the God of the Bible delivered me from drugs and alcohol and all that. The Christian Bible did that. Really, I think ultimately was the creator. So much more the OAHSPE, the influence of the creator is way, way stronger than the influences of the Bible in my mind, according to my understanding. But when drugs, alcohol, it gets a hold of you and the light is nowhere to be found, it's the most terrible thing, man, you know? And it don't stop here. The creator says it don't stop here. And people don't think about that. And the institution, the nation we live in, the infrastructure that we live under is perfectly outfitted to block the light. To block the light, meaning the knowledge of the OAHSPE, the current infrastructure where we live in people's minds, it is perfectly constructed to block the light. Perfectly constructed. That's why I think we have to come to a time like we're getting ready to come to right now. I'm gonna do this little study and then I'm gonna comment on what I'm talking about. Now, here's John 14:22. And I just love bringing this out from time to time. I love bringing it out from time to time because it applies to us as faithists. Christians have no clue what this means spiritually. They can speculate, and they can make, do speculation, you know, but it's not like the OAHSPE. It's not like the breakdown that the Creator gives. It shows you how the Creator, just like this verse here says, the disciples, they were talking to the Jesus Christ of the New Testament, right? They said, Lord, how will you, because he was telling them in this narrative in John 14:22, the Jesus of this narrative was saying, I'm getting ready to go and I'll come back and receive you unto myself, right? And then they said, well, Lord, how will you reveal yourself to us and not to the world? You know, that's a valid question. How will you reveal yourself to us and not to the world? And it's a beautiful, it's profound. Check it out. This is just, it says, this is a beautiful and very deep question, almost exactly what Judas, not Iscariot, asked Jesus in 14:22. OAHSPE's answer to this question explains it very clearly, consistently. Jehovah does not reveal himself to the world. The masses who are still in darkness, materialism, and self-interest. The world, meaning the masses who are still in darkness and materialism and self-interest. In the same way, he doesn't reveal himself to the masses who are still in darkness, materialism, and self-interest. In the same way, he reveals himself to those who are trying to live as faithists. Here's how the OAHSPE puts it. To the world, and this is a miracle. This is miracle stuff right here, because this is happening right now. The Creator is revealing himself to faithists. He's able to show, here's the OAHSPE. It's in the world. Anybody could read it. If you're in touch with your inner light, you're going to find the OAHSPE. You're going to find the Creator. But if you place your trust in religion and somebody else dying for you, you will not find the Creator. That's how he keeps himself from the world, and he reveals himself to faithists. To the world, meaning those still living for self, living for fame, living for materialism, power, or religious show, Jehovah remains hidden. Now, the world, they think, oh, man, there ain't no way, man, that God can hide himself. There ain't no, how can I look, I could see the sun. How do you mean he would show up and I wouldn't see him? You see the way the world think? They really think that way. Look at what it says. Jehovah, they may see miracles, signs, or religious excitement, but they do not truly see or know him. Their perception is blocked by the 4 dark corners that we talked about earlier: selfishness, lust, anger, ignorance. They say in the womb, they stay in the womb without the quickening. The world, see, the womb is the body. The world is the bigger womb. The body is the womb of the spirit, and the world is the womb of the body, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? We in the womb right now, brethren. We in the womb, We're not even born yet. The Creator says you are not even born yet. We are in the womb. We didn't have a desire. We didn't have a choice being put in the womb, but we got a choice to make ourselves. The choices we make now benefit our resurrection when we go into our spirit. I'm going to talk a little bit about that too, about the 11th dive-in law. I'm going to see if I can find that and talk about it. Bless your soul. It'll bless you. It says selfishness, lust, anger, the four dark corners. The four dark corners keep most of the world in the womb, meaning they don't they stay, they are not made alive. They I don't want to use, I don't want to use, you know, different terms. You know what I mean? Like stillborn, and I don't want to use that. But I need you to get the point. You know, it's like some babies are alive, they're kicking in the womb. That's John 14:22. John the Baptist, Mary came in. Elizabeth was pregnant with John the Baptist. They were both pregnant. Mary came in. And then Elizabeth said, as soon as you came in, John the Baptist leapt in my womb. It's the equivalent of when the OAHSPE comes into the life of a faithist. You respond, you give a reaction, even while you're in the womb. Before the bones are formed, I knew ye. Remember, it says in the Bible, even while you were in the womb, I knew you. It says God, but it's talking about the Creator, right? Even before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. He says, the four dark corners, man. It says most of the world they stay without quickening in the womb. They're without quickening. They're without quickening because of the four dark corners: selfishness, lust, anger, ignorance. They stay in the womb. You don't get quickened, like the sperm fertilizing the egg. You know what I mean? You don't get quickened, man. If you stay in bondage to selfishness, lust, anger, ignorance, it keeps you in the womb without the quickening. The sperm doesn't reach you to quicken you, in the sense. I'm using the sperm as the light, the knowledge, the Creator's word. To you, meaning those seeking him in purity and quiet service, Jehovah reveals himself secretly and inwardly. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Through the still small voice, inner light, and the quickening you feel when higher truth touches you. Here we are in the womb. We found out about the OAHSPE, and it produced a reaction in you. It don't have to be a bunch of jumping and shouting. It's a leaping of the soul. It's a leaping of the soul, man. It reacts. You say to yourself, man, I can't believe it. I cannot believe I found this. I can't believe it, man. It's a quickening. A quickening is real. That's real life. This revelation is personal and secret and gentle. It is not loud, public, or spectacular for the world to see. Key OAHSPE teaching on this in the Book of Inspiration and Book of Judgment. Joby says, paraphrasing, says, I come to the pure in heart, but the world cannot receive me. Pure in heart, So finding the Creator is an incredible thing, man. It requires getting real with yourself. Faithists, they know that. Getting real with yourself. Getting real, man. Sitting down, thinking about where you've been, where you're going, where you come from, where you are right now. Thinking about what it's all about. That's how you find, if you get real, man, is it worth it? I got all this possessions. Is it worth it, man? Am I true to myself? Am I feeding myself? Are my deep questions getting answered? Joey says, I reveal myself in the secret chamber, not on the street corners. To those who give without seeking reward, who serve in silence, who turn to me in their weariness, to them I make myself known. The leaping in the womb, meaning John recognizing the light, is how revelation feels while we are still embryos in the womb of the world. The world does not feel that the world does not feel that leap because it is still asleep in darkness. But to those who are quietly reaching, even in pain or economic hardship, Jehovah reveals himself inwardly through peace, recognition, strength to keep giving, or that inner joy when truth touches your soul. Now, one thing I've seen people deceive themselves and thinking that they found the light, and they were in religion, they were under religion. I've seen that with my own eyes. I've seen it where people they're convinced that they work themselves up, they make themselves think that they found the truth. I think that that's the effect, man, of people wanting to know the creator so much that they deceive themselves. They get in touch with a little spirituality or something called spiritual, and they're open to believing that what they found is the truth, is the creator, is the all light. Even though you point out things in the Bible, contradictions, inconsistencies, obvious injustices, people and women and children dying, obvious. But it blinds you. Once you convince yourself that, you receive almost anything that people say who do it under the guise of spirituality, religion. And the Bible's got to try, it's been around so long. That's what is the strongest witness for it than anything. The fact that it's been here for so long. But now creators raising up scholars to dissect it, and the strongest arguments, it makes no difference to most people. That's how strong tradition is. Simple summary, Jehovah reveals himself not to the world, but to the individual soul that is turning away from materialism and self-seeking, giving quietly without wanting notoriety or reward, reaching to him honestly, even when tired or burdened. He does this through inner light, not outward spectacle. All right, so that's John 14:22. We're in the womb. How will you reveal yourself to us and not to the world? The disciples asked him. How will you do that? And now if I were to paraphrase this little verse right here, I would say, I'm going to give them the OAHSPE about 4 or 5, about 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years from now. I'm going to give them the OAHSPE, and people who are prepared are going to hear it, and they're going to come out of religion. They're going to come out of that which, the churches and, all that they have been taught all their life, and they're going to walk with me in the light. They're going to hear my voice, and they're going to separate. And that's how I'm going to reveal myself to you and not to the world. And it's happening right now. It's happening right now. Now, I also wanted to touch a little bit on the situation. Here's the 11th dive-in law, right? 11th dive-in law. I want to touch on the geopolitical situation, but I'm going to do this. This is really nice right here. I want to share it with y'all real quick. This is pretty nice. Now, coming to the end of the video in another half hour, if anybody wants me to drop the link to the mic, just put a 1 in the chat so that when I come to the chat, if I see you want the mic, I'll drop the link. And if you want to say, if there's something you want to share or whatever. A half hour coming to the end of the video. So if you want the mic, type a 1. When I come into the chat and I see it, I'll drop the link. Now, the 11th dive-in law for faithists. The 11th dive-in law, man. Dive-in stands for divinity, really. Check this out. It says, here's a clear explanation of the verse you quoted in OAHSPE, Book of Divinity, chapter 3, verse 16. The 11th dive-in law. The 11th dive-in law, if a Zarathustrian, that's a faithist. Check this out. If a Zarathustrian calling a faithist a Zarathustrian. If a faithist attains to maturity before he dies, if a Zarathustrian attains to maturity before he dies, his spirit shall be an Essene for 2 years. And during this time, he shall be now, if you ask me if a Zarathustra, what maturity is, I think it's coming into the light while you're on the earth and walking in it and practicing it. If you are on the earth and you come into the light and you begin to walk in it, sincerity and truth, that type of thing, that's coming to maturity. As best I can understand, that's coming into maturity. The cosmic era, balance and maturity, spirit and physical. It's a Zarathustrian, a faithist who comes to maturity, man. He finds the light, he starts to walk in it. On the earth, before he dies, his spirit shall be an Essene for 2 years. An Essene, a newborn spirit for 2 years. And during this time, he shall be attended to by not less than 2 ASAPs. Those are spiritual guardians. Here we have Ashars. They watch over us. Ashars are Ashar. On the earth, we have Ashars. In the spiritual, you have ASAPs. When he goes away from his heavenly home, and the ASAPs shall teach him the mode of travel, the manner of knowing localities, both on the earth and in the first resurrection. And they shall teach him the varieties and kinds of food suited to the highest, best education of his spirit. But when he travels with his companions of his own heavenly group, then the ASAPs of the group shall go along with them, and during the 2 years he shall be provided with food and clothes from the stores in heaven, and he shall not labor to provide himself with anything. The simple breakdown of who this applies to: a Zarathustrian, meaning a true faithist, who has reached spiritual maturity while still alive on the earth. This means that someone who's lived a life of purity, good works, and devotion to Jehovah. What happens after death? The spirit enters the first resurrection as a Essene, a young spirit, a newborn spirit, in heaven for a period of 2 years. This is a protected, gentle transition period. Special provisions during these 2 years, personal escorts. At least 2 ASAPs, meaning guardian angels, accompany the person whenever they leave their heavenly home. Education and training. Learn how to travel in the spirit world. Learn how to recognize different locations on earth and in the heavens. Learn what kinds of spiritual food, nourishment for the spirit are best for continued growth. Group travel. When traveling with their own heavenly companions, the group's ASAPs go with them. Complete support. The spirit is fully provided with food and clothing from heavenly stores. They are not required to labor for anything during this 2-year period. Purpose of this law: it is an act of mercy and care for those who live righteously on the earth. It gives mature souls time to adjust to spirit life, learn the ways of the higher heavens, and continue their education without immediate burdens. It reflects the divine law's emphasis on gentle, structured resurrection rather than sudden, harsh judgment. This law shows the loving, organized nature of the heavenly system under the divine period. Those who lived well are given a protected honeymoon phase in the afterlife to grow further before taking on greater responsibilities. All right. The 11th divine law. Okay, so that's going to conclude the studies on sex, on the divine laws, on John 14:22, on the the judgment of the afterlife exactly. And now let me go to the chat, see if anybody wants to have a discussion of any type. I'm going to go to the room now, see who has been here and who has all right, I'm in the chat now, so thank you all for joining me. Let's see. All right, Daryl was in here. Mahalia. All right. Good to see y'all. Good to see y'all. Elijah. Tasmanian. Tabitha. Bishop. Elijah. Dwayne. Natsari Yahoo. See, she says if someone got married as a Christian, and is now separated from the wife husband, can she get remarried to someone who is a faithist? I could be wrong, but I don't think you can. If you talking about the diving laws is once married, one time. Now, I could be wrong. I think according to the Creator, at least as far as the spirit is concerned in the kingdom, it's once you are married, and that's it. The terms are different in the spiritual than they are on the earth. The Creator says on the earth, people, they marry for fleshly reasons. Whereas in the kingdom, in the spiritual, they marry out of pure love. So it's something different. So now, if you permit me, I want to comment a little bit on what I've been learning, man, about the situation we're in before I end the video. Now, different analysts and experts have been warning that June, July, we're going to begin to feel the shortages of oil and gas coming out of the Middle East because of the war over there. That means that we live in a country that is 90, at least, brethren, 90% byproducts made from oil and gas. Now, we in a situation, it's certainly a time of AG, a dense spiritual darkness for a period of time. And from the best of my understanding, the Creator, he tells us to pray for wisdom and knowledge to get through it. I've been looking at a lot of verses on the Creator and his protection. And he says the protection is the inner peace that brethren will experience even as the world is in turmoil. It doesn't mean that we escape it, but the inner peace is what carries us through. For the world, when they don't want to come into the light, they don't want to learn, they do not want to gravitate to the Creator. They want to stay tied to the earth. He lets them come into the full effects of the, what's a good word for events that are coming on the earth, for the events that is coming on the earth. Now, I've been researching and studying the impact of the shortage of oil and gas. Now, I am not about fear mongering, man, not at all. I do these videos, partially do these videos because I love the hope that the Creator offers anyone who is willing to subscribe to the light found in the OAHSPE. I'm pulling for anybody who is willing to leave the earth, anyone willing to separate from the earth in your mind and to subscribe to the light. I do these videos because the only hope for mankind is the OAHSPE. That's the only hope, man, you know. One of the few ways that you're going to break the earth of its addiction to the earth is you have to bring a time like what's coming on the earth in order to, how sometimes parents will take something out of the children's hand, you know, they might even smack his hand to get him to drop a sharp knife or something. The earth is turned into a sharp knife. The 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 lust of the flesh of the earth is running wild. It's nearly uncontrollable, where resources mean more than a human life. When resources mean more to people, see, people, we're in a situation, man. I'm telling you, we're in a situation. Analysts have been warning June, middle of June into July, and August basically kicks it off when shortages reach a level where the supply line is impacted to where the supply chain can no longer supply byproducts of oil and gas the way we are used to it. Now, we hear in a little study where faith is, and the Creator is warning us. This warning is going out. The Uzians are also warning they're warning their people too. That's what let you know it's for real. The Uzians, the non-Jehovians, they are warning their people too. The only problem is that when people come into when they come into events such as what we are facing, they don't handle it to faith this way. They don't look to Jehovah for sustenance, for perseverance and endurance. They look to themselves. Now, you know what that means? They look to anarchy. And if anything, I'm just trying to tell you people, anyone who sees this video, we need to prepare our minds and our hearts for a great change, man. We in the cosmic era. That means that these things, they have to be. We're in a little arc cycle of AG, a period of time. The earth is passing through Ethereal worlds. They have different densities. The densities that we're presently in right now is pretty heavy. That means that people will be subject to lower influences. They're going to be subject to lower influences. So you take away their things that they have been used to that deal with the fleshly comforts of life. Already, you can, if you want to, I was listening to an analyst. He said, hey, look, man, we've already surpassed all the markers that pointed to the Great Depression. He said, we've already surpassed them, All indicators are pointing to a very, very rough situation. The data points that different analysts use to make projections. You know how business is, businesses, they have all kinds of charts and studies and research. They want to know what's ahead. They want to know how the money is going to move. And they're all saying the same thing, man. Time like we've never seen before. Never seen, the impact of the drop in bond market and stocks and companies filing bankruptcy. They solve the same thing. So if anything, this video here, the word that the Creator, that I feel a burden to share, is the hope that we have. It's going to become hope. It's going to become pretty, what's a good word for precious? That's going to become, nobody really cares, pays attention to it right now. But watch what happens, man. I hate to say this. When you get a little too close to people's wallet, it's already happening. It's already happening. So I'm just saying, using the opportunity to try to share and let brother know that the best I can see, the Creator, he talks about the protection that faith this will come under. He talks about how our inner light is going to carry us through the times ahead. When you have people who place their whole faith in the world, and then the world crumbles, it's a pretty sad thing to see a person who falls apart when they see everything that they trusted and counted on. It just dissolves into nothing. You know what I mean? It's like, what else is the Creator supposed to do? If he don't do something, if he don't allow us to go through this dense region that we going through, we're never going to let go of that sharp knife, which is the world. We're never going to drop it, man. Something has to change. We can't stay on the same path and expect things to change. You know, the earth, people are tied to the earth. They tied to, it's a pretty strong addiction that people have to the earth. The Creator is sitting there saying, I have something far greater, better for you. The earth saying, we don't want it. We want to stay right where we are. Please just leave us alone. Will you leave us alone? You haven't done anything so far. You let us have these wars and fightings and problems. We don't want to acknowledge that we made our own bed. We in this situation, if I may digress for a second, man, Israel and the United States, the situation we're in, Israel and the United States, because the desire for conquest is taken over. The desire for power and authority, you know what I mean, is taken over. The United States is losing power and authority. Israel wants to expand. They want to expand their borders. They feel other people in the region are a threat. They convinced us to help them do something about it. That's why we are where we are right now. They attacked Iran. Iran, in response, cut off the oil producing trade routes of the world. And they told the United States, if you attack us again, not right now, it's supposed to be a time of ceasefire. They told the United States, if you attack us again, and already they've been trading tit for tat over there. And they told the United States, if you attack us again, I mean, you attack us again, or if Israel bombs Beirut, they're over there bombing Lebanon right now, then we will shut. There's another pipeline that is pretty much supplying the oil supply, that at least a little bit of it that was cut off. Some oil pipeline in Saudi Arabia that stretches from east to west called Bab el Mandab. And they are threatening to hit that final pipeline. I call it the final pipeline because it's trying to pick up the slack, but it can only produce so many barrels of oil a day. The world was used to 20 million barrels of oil being produced, and it operated on a just-in-time system. A just-in-time system, meaning there couldn't be no break in the chain. No break in the chain. It used to be 20 million barrels of oil per day. Now it's down to 7 million, with all the Gulf states. All that they can produce is a total of about 7 million barrels of oil per day. And that oil goes to the highest bidder. The United States is the biggest producer of oil and gas. And they will sell to the highest bidder. They will not sell. It's going to come to a point where when our reserves get so low, they're going to be forced to stop selling to other people. And they're going to have to use what they have left for this country. This country is operating right now on pretty much reserves. It's like drawing from your savings. At some point, your savings get kind of low. That's where we are right now. when they reach a point, the critical point where it starts affecting the pipeline, analysts have been warning June, middle of June, and July is when things begin to pick up. So that's the world we point where things simple as that for real. So that's the best I can do for today. I see that nobody wants the mic. Good enough. If there's anyone out there, you hear this video, the 6-volume set to help you a supplement to the OAHSPE, contact me. I get it to you for free. If there's a need of charity, you can contact me. You can, I should put my email in there. That's what I should do. But you can contact me right here on the channel and get in touch with me. And if you're in need of charity, you can let me know. I'll keep you incognito. We'll get the situation dealt with. And so, brethren, that's the best I can do for right now. I guess I could end it here. Thank you for joining me. Jehovah, thank you for this opportunity to try to share. I pray for my brethren for our faith that it wouldn't fail, that you sustain us this time that we're going through, and that for light and spirit of truth to spread on the earth, for the knowledge and the light to spread on the earth, for the kingdom to come, Jehovah. I ask that you intervene in the minds of the people who have rulership over us, that they would subscribe to the OAHSPE, that they would turn, they would repent, and that they would turn away from the ways of the beast kingdom, the Drusians, in the world today, that it would spread and shine, would be multiplied. So, Jehovah, thank you for this opportunity. And until next time, thank you for the light. And I pray that it just goes out, powerfully. In your name, we give thanks and pray. All right, brethren, thank you for joining me. Till next time, Friday, same time, same bat channel. I will see you then. And until then, the Creator be with you. Peace be unto you. Shalom.